Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Berube here for another Facebook Live on this lovely Thursday. What is today, the 20th? 21st? Something like
20th.
that. 20th. Thank you, Michelle. So I'm glad we have you here today. Well, from the lovely state of Arizona, by the way, shameless plug, I will be in Arizona at almost every one of our offices next week. So please.
Woo! Arizona love.
Yeah, Arizona rules. Arizona rocks. And we are very fortunate from the lovely state of Arizona, from the Goodyear office. Okay, Michelle Gallegos, ladies and gentlemen. You hear the studio audience go crazy, right? I mean, they're going berserk.
Thank you, studio audience, for being there.
All right, Michelle. Okay, you're from Arizona, obviously, so you have people from California and Nevada. So tell us a little about yourself, how long you've been in the business, so they get an idea of all about you.
So born and raised in the Valley. I've been in real estate 21 years. I started out in appraisal after I graduated from ASU, and I've been a licensed realtor since 2005.
Wow, I just learned some stuff today. I didn't realize you were always from Arizona, went to college there. I didn't realize you were licensed that long.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I tell people it was an arranged marriage. So a little bit about my story. When I was at ASU, I started out, I wanted to be pre-medical. I did not make life choices that were conducive to pre-med. I switched to education. Education was not for me, and ended up studying communication studies. I got my bachelor's in that. Went into marketing, was in marketing for a very short stint, and then somebody lured me over to run their appraisal office. They doubled my pay, but it was a very niche market. We did a lot of stuff for mostly ADOT, utility companies. We did a lot for economic forecasters, expert witness, but I would sometimes have 60 appraisals come through my hands in the course of a week, and I was in charge of all the technical editing and proofreading and double checking the numbers. And so I learned a lot about appraisal. And then in 2005, we were having another baby, and I was trying to transition out of working full time, and I had friends who were doing very well during the boom as investors, as flippers. And they said to me, get your license and you can be our TC and work from home. And I did that. And then in 2006, when the market started to teeter, he ended up going to work for the state, and they jumped out of real estate in 2007. And so I was left with a license, and had swore when my aptitude test came back from ASU that I would be best suited to be a realtor or an insurance person, that I would never do either one of those things. Hence the arranged marriage. So, but people started asking me to sell their houses or help them find houses. 2007, so baptism by fire, and my business took off. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I was at 100% brokerage, which means you're 100% on your own. I felt like there was things I needed to know, and part of my advice to anybody who wants to get their real estate license now is get in with a training brokerage that's going to train you from the bottom up to market your business, market yourself, talk about real estate, build your database. One of the things that I love that Mark talks about is that he measured his success early on by how many people, how many appointments he got on a daily basis. One of the things that I love about Berkshire is that they offer coaching, free coaching. That was something that you never get at 100% brokerage. So, yeah. Ask away.
I really appreciate that. And it's funny because, what I tell people is the 100% companies, here's their training program. There's your desk. There's your phone. Go get them. You're on your own.
Not even that. Yeah. Pay $25 a month to have your license hung here.
Yeah, and you know what's really funny? You talked about an aptitude test. I didn't know how to take this. In college, I took the aptitude test, and it told me I should be a fire engine. I didn't know how to take that. I'm only kidding. I love it, Michelle. See, I'm learning all kinds of stuff about you. Now, this is and my take on you, since I've been with the company 7 years now, is you'd come to you were like a fringe dweller. You'd come to the training, it would sound good, and then you'd disappear. Then you'd come to and then all of a sudden you told me one day, which kind of surprised me, I've been afraid to join your coaching. And I go, it's free. No, that's not what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of like being held accountable. But I'm going to tell you something. One of the reasons I asked you to be on here is because the last 2 years, you've really lit it up in this business, and you're on a really good pace, right? Tell us a little about that.
So one of the best pieces of, I don't want to call it advice, something that stuck with me that said, accountability. that is one of the things that I have learned from you. Mindset is another thing that I have learned from you. My Carol Dweck book, Mindset, it sits by my bed. It is a guide for my life. I lost 30 pounds over the last year because I changed my mindset. That was something that I didn't recognize that was holding me back, was my own limited beliefs. And so I am a proponent, I am a teacher of, I am a preacher of, change your mindset and you will change your life. And I have really put that into practice with my own business. I used to tell people that I was a secret agent for the first probably, 8-10 years of my practice, in that, I didn't want anybody knowing that I was a realtor. One of the things that I've learned from you is you are a salesperson. Why would you be embarrassed to tell anybody that you're a salesperson?
Mm-hmm.
And so as I have learned to embrace that, my business has taken off.
Right. Yeah, it's great. It's great to watch you too, because listen to the enthusiasm and excitement. It's no wonder why people like to work with you. You have all kinds of energy and excitement.
I think one of the things that I have learned from you, Rick, is you're going to lose people. And I think that was one of the things that I was very much afraid of early on in my early years as a realtor, was that I was afraid to lose people. What if I upset somebody? Well, lose them faster. They're going to waste your time. And I don't want to work with people who are going to waste my time. I want to work with people who know me and like me and trust me. And I know the value that I bring to any transaction. And I am more than happy to put my arms around you and embrace to take you through that journey. I'm honored to do it. And it's one of the things that I feel like sets me apart. And I'm not afraid to communicate that to people.
Awesome. No, you're very good. I think this is what I think by watching you now for a few years, is that one day you just gave yourself the license to say everything you just said. By changing your mindset, it affected your confidence. You're talking about a growth mindset versus a fixed, with Carol Dweck book. I love that book. I've listened to it and read it many times. I love it. Matter of fact, my little success is a verb. Some of the stuff that I have in there came right from that book, and The Power of Habit, and several other books. But that book is incredibly good, Carol Dweck. She's what is she? She's a psychologist from somewhere. Yeah, and she like one of the major business schools for years. Is it Harvard or is it? It's something Harvard. Like that. Yeah, it's Harvard, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the interesting thing was that I had it in my library. I had it in my library since 2012, and I just never read it. Never adopted it anyways. I may have skimmed it. There was something, go ahead.
And it's kind of like your mindset, like a lot of us, we all have the confidence and the aptitude and everything in there if we just decide to turn it on, and we turn it on through what you read. You talked about like you don't lose 30 pounds overnight. That's a discipline. No. That's a habit. That's about what I had to lose too. I've been the same weight I am now for almost 12 years. But before that, I was 25, 30 pounds heavier. Not a lot of people know that. And I thought it would take me 6 months. It took me a year and a half. How long did it take you?
You were one of my inspirations. I started this journey in September 7th of last year.
Wow, you did well. That's good. Yeah, it took me a lot longer. I had to ease into it. Like I love working out now. I love eating right, but I didn't always. And I still cheat.
COVID helped with about 10 pounds of that.
Right, exactly. The COVID 15, it's called, like the sophomore 15 or whatever they call it, the freshman 15.
Well, I went opposite, thankfully.
I love it. Okay, so so you went from doing a few deals a year to super full time, one of the top people in your office, and I know Tiffany's wonderful, and I know Susan helped you a lot too. I know you're in my coaching, so you obviously have had some help, but tell us what you've done to go from where you were to where you currently are, and give an idea where you are too. I think that'd be helpful.
So year to date, I am 80% of closed transactions, if the 3 that I have going, successfully complete here in the next 2 weeks. And then I am 67% of my gross commission earned as compared to last year. My goal for this year was to double my production from last year. So I'm on my way. That's one of the things that accountability is huge for me. I don't like accountability. Accountability is not fun, but I know that if I don't have the accountability, I struggle, I waver with follow through. So I Susan and Tiffany and you have been instrumental in that. And that's probably my number one bit of advice, is to be accountable. Early on, I didn't want accountability. One of the things that I love about this business is the flexibility that it provides. And the journey. I tell people, you're in there for the long haul. This is not a get rich quick scheme. You're dealing with people's lives, and there's a level of awe that comes with that. So, yeah, accountability is probably my number one advice. Be accountable to somebody. Set goals. That's my number two. That's something that I learned from you. I was not a goal setter. I was in college, but then after college, I floundered with goals. And so, yeah, in the last 2 years, I have adopted a goal mindset, and to not be afraid to make those goals and miss them. Because in my perfectionism, in my personality, I want to meet those goals. And if I don't, I am the hardest critic on myself. So that is something that I have learned, is to be uncomfortable with mistakes, to be uncomfortable with making goals and not hitting them. Michelle Klein, who is one of our top agents in all of Berkshire, she taught me that. She was the last person that I had lunch with before the COVID shutdown. And I feel like I get to sit at Michelle Klein's feet, learn from other top producers. I'm honored to be around so many great Berkshire agents.
Yeah, I love Michelle. And Michelle hasn't been doing it that long, really, if you think about it.
No, a fraction of the time that I've been doing it, but her very scientific mind, I mean, she takes, and this is why I tell agents, get into a training brokerage, because Michelle got into Berkshire as a new agent, and she immediately adopted everything. You know, it says do this in our success series, in our shameless plug for your success series, do this, and do this. And Michelle did it. And that is why Michelle is so successful. Yeah. And for me, it's undoing bad habits and then learning to adopt the good ones.
Yeah, she's awesome. And, she follows a very simple discipline plan, just like you do. And then what I would say last year, didn't you basically quadruple your business from any year prior? And then this year you're trying to double it. That's pretty incredible, actually. So congratulations.
Yeah. And, this was the goal that I have this year, was my goal last year, and I fell short. But life. You keep going.
You still had a great year, though. So congratulations.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay,
I set a pretty lofty goal last year.
Right. And what was that goal? Just so they know.
So I wanted 24 transactions, which would have been an all-time high for me. I am the mother of 5 children. I've got them. I tease my husband that we've been raising children since the 80s. Him, not me. 90s for me. But
well, you've been raising him too, so he's one of them.
That's right. He's probably my biggest. 6 if I count him.
That's right. I'm a full-time job. I know that. Tina, plus Tina.
Awareness is the first step to correcting that, Rick.
Exactly. It's called, yes. You have to admit there's a problem before you can get better. Yes, I know a whole program designed around that. All right. What's that?
So I said problem is such a loaded word.
Yeah. Well, in this case, I like what you said about the journey. It's exciting. Even when you like last year you had a lofty goal, and I'm sure you'll achieve it this year. I mean, 2 deals a month in your market with what's going on is an incredible. That's a contract. It's a closing every other week, basically.
Right.
That's a great full-time agent making really good money, and you're an incredible market. You have so many great. You have Eric in your office. You have Michelle in your office. You have a whole bunch of incredible agents in your office too, which is great. All right. And so you have a great, like synergy going on. And then, matter of fact, I'm going to be there Monday morning. Shameless plug for your office meeting. Don't be late.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not. My flight lands at 8 and then I have to get my car. I should be there right on time. All right.
Ooh,
so anyway.
That 10 is no fun, Rick.
That means I'll speak at the second half of the meeting. That's all if I'm late. But no, the whole idea is that you now, isn't it nice when you have an idea of what you need to do every day in order to achieve your goal? Isn't that a great feeling? Tell them a little about that.
It's a wonderful, just the plan, just to have those goals, and they're micro goals. I think that's one of the other things that I learned from being part of your coaching, is to have your daily revenue commitment. I didn't have that before, and it has helped me tremendously.
Yeah, the DRC, as Mark, I stole that from Mark. That's in all our training. DRC, which is really your contacts per day. When you do the math, okay, the magic math, okay, that I learned at my days at Mike Ferry, which is very simple. Your amount of contacts should equal the amount of deals you want to do until you get to a certain point. Then it's the difference between where you are. And so what is your DRC per day? How many people do you need to talk to?
So 24 based on that formula. And I have learned to heavily rely upon my sphere of influence. Having been in the business this long, being from the Valley, I'm fortunate to have a very healthy sphere of influence. And some of I have clients that I'm currently helping that I have gotten from my sphere that I have never helped them personally with real estate. So that is they don't know me from the real estate side, but they're in my sphere and talking to them and they're referring me out, trying to stay top of mind with people.
That's great. That's great. So, all right. So, I'd like to jump right to this question. All right. Cause we can and be detailed about it too. So being in the business for as long as you have and going from, okay, I'm on the sidelines to in the game full time in a short period of time. Okay. Like really doing well. So what would be the three number one pieces actually they're all number one. Yeah. Pieces of advice that you would give somebody if they wanted to do that as well?
So understand and work your database. Be accountable to somebody or at least two people. A mentor would be great. A coach would be another one. Mm-hmm. Set goals and be willing to commit every day. Your feelings are fickle. You will not feel like doing it. But mm-hmm. with your mindset and with those goals, and on the days that you don't feel like doing it, you call an account. There's been many times that I've called Tiffany and said, what the heck am I doing in this business? And your office manager, your mentor, your coach, they're all great resources for you to push through those times when you're not going to feel like it.
Great. Yeah. So like you and Eric are in my coaching. Michelle is in, Mike Ferry coaching. I have agents in California and Arizona and Nevada in Tom Ferry coaching. I've got a bunch in Brian Buffini, and they still do. They're still in my coaching too. So my theory is you can't be overcoached. No. So what you're talking about is have a coach, have a mentor, have your office manager. Because let's face it, Michelle, and honestly, if you're serious about achieving your goal, you should have no problem telling the people who will support you what that is, right?
Right. That's right. Okay. And then the other thing is to not compare yourself to others, because that was one of my biggest hindrances getting in, was being so intimidated by what other people were doing or thinking that they all had it going on. My goals are my goals for me. They work for me. They work for my family. They work for where I want to be. And that's it's your business. I think those were some of the things that I have learned. Learn to embrace your business and commit to it.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Great point. And how about one more? Give us one more.
I would definitely say training brokerage. I have people approach me regularly because I'm always looking to create ways to talk about real estate, not in an obnoxious way. But, I look for the opportunities to slip them in. And it's not that I'm going to get to give my 2-minute commercial to anyone on any given day. But, I used to do recruitment back in 2013. I helped build a boutique brokerage, and I knew my statistics. My average was 17 touches of other agents before they would be willing to have a conversation with me. And so I knew that number for me. It tends to be 12 to 16 times when I talk to somebody before they, oh, hey, yeah, I gave my neighbor your number. And so just, knowing that every month when you reach out to them, sending them a birthday card, sending them, acknowledging their kid's graduation, acknowledging their home anniversary, whatever it might be, all of those touches work up to being top of mind. So when they're having a conversation with their next door neighbor, I talked to a guy yesterday because his neighbor gave him, oh, you got to talk to Michelle. And that's what I want people to do.
Right. Yeah. You're programming them. So when they think or hear of real estate, whether they're, their family, their friends, their work, their church, okay, whatever, that they're thinking about you. So you have to program them. So when they hear real estate, they think of you.
Right. And that's one of the things that, I had to work to overcome, was thinking that I was being a bother to people when I was reaching out to them. But and then one of the other things that I would say that I have learned from you over the course of the last 18 months, Rick, is to um, bring in an assistant. There are areas we can't be as realtors. For me, I'm not good. I can't be all things, and so like I struggle with social media. It just feels very disingenuous to who I am. But I know that that is a part of this business. It's a part of staying top of mind. It's part of shifting my mindset into accepting that this is the business that we're in. So I hired a social media manager. That's very, very fresh. It's less than 2 months old. And that's why I sent you the new Instagram handle. She's branding
Nice.
and working things that way. And so within 9 days of her launching that new site, I had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, I totally forgot you were in real estate. They DM'd me through Instagram. Can you help me, find a house? And we were in contract within a week. And that's somebody whose brother is a broker, but the brother wasn't giving them the attention that they needed. And so, yeah, don't be afraid to bring on other people to help you.
Yeah. So, and what you just said, basically, like, look, I used to run prospecting schools at the Mike Ferry. I should do them on the road. I've done 2 in Italy. So I used to start the prospecting school like this. Okay, raise your hand if you're looking for people who aren't moving, right? And they would laugh, and I would say, you're not looking for people who aren't moving. You're looking for people who are moving, and the people who are moving, it's not like you're speaking Swahili to them. They get these questions. They love and walk and talk like a salesperson and are enthusiastic about it, right? That's key right there. What you just said. So yes, some people don't need you right now, and they'll be, they treat you irrelevant or whatever. Some of them even get a little mad, and like, why are you so mad? This is my job. Okay. I don't get mad because, you're parking cars or whatever you do. I don't get mad at your job. Don't get mad at mine. This is what I do. Right.
And those are likely the people that you don't want to work with. So Thank you for revealing that to me.
Yeah. So true. So true. I always think, what is wrong in their life to get mad at me for doing my job? And by the way, folks, it almost never happens, especially if you're going door knocking, which I recommend you do that a lot right now, because most of the world hasn't seen anybody in a while, or at least they've been wearing a mask. Right. So anyway, you ever see the movie The Mask? That movie cracks me up. Somebody stop me. No, don't stop me. I'm going out. I'm door knocking. I'm talking to people over the phone. I'm doing it all. Now, what you also mentioned about billable hours, all right, about hiring an assistant is when you're willing to prospect like you are, when you're willing to follow a disciplined listing presentation, do your lead follow-up, use that VAC 2.0 for all the tools and bells and whistles that it has, you're getting paid a decent amount per hour. Everything else, you're getting paid a fraction, so it makes sense to sub those things out to other people.
Yeah, I did learn that from you.
Yep. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Michelle Gallegos. Well, this has been awesome, very informative. Your energy and enthusiasm is contagious. I can see why people want to work with you. And now with your new discipline, your new schedule, hey, the sky's the limit.
Yes, I'm excited to see as far as I can go.
Yes, me too. And I'm a pleasure working with you. And we will look forward to talking soon. Everybody else, we'll do this again. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do bits and pieces live from Arizona next week. Woo!
Woo-hoo! You're in for great weather.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much, Michelle, for your time. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye, Rick. Bye, everybody. Bye.